otherwise known as Drewicious. Welcome to my basement. It's been a little bit since I've put anything out. Sorry. Had some stuff going on. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Confluence models. Maybe you already know about this. Feel free to check out if you do. If you're a newer trader and looking for another way to think about the way that you're looking at your charts, maybe I have some ideas that'll help. We'll find out. Before we go any further, I do want to ask you guys. Oh, I need to turn that back on. I do want to ask you guys to help me out here. You could click the like button on YouTube. It'd help me out. That'd be great. Also, y'all can find me, and I think I put it back here already, on Twitter and stock twits at Drewicious as well. So if you guys are looking for more real-time updates during the week, I put out a daily watch list, semi-regular watch lists, and report back on how things are performing off of the list, so you can check my work. All right, that being said, let's get into today's topic. We are going to be going over Confluence models, so essentially I'll kind of explain what that is. We'll attempt to use it a little bit against some on-demand. We're just going to go pick a random day. We'll probably look at like SPY or something like that and just see how it works out. But I'll talk through the process about how I think about Confluence models, and that'll be it. We'll try to keep it short and sweet today. All right. So as you guys know, I typically do these on Thinkorswim. We're going to jump over and take a look at the chart, and we'll just go ahead and pull up SPY for now. So let's talk a little bit about what Confluence model is, or what Confluence models are, and then we'll attempt to put that to work against some day in trading history. We'll pick one randomly, so I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll just kind of talk through the process a little bit. So the shortest version of what I can explain Confluence model is essentially it's basically keeping score for bullish and bearish attributes. And the idea here is essentially not to just look at a chart and see one thing and decide that it's bullish, or, flip a coin, right? We're looking for data that both supports and undermines any given assertion, right? So if you're looking for a move up, we're looking for things that support a possible move up, and we're looking for things that may go against a move up. Right, because if we've got a longer list of bearish Confluence when we're looking to make a move up, that may be a sign that we're taking a bad trade, right? So it is doing our best to be objective as we look at all of the signals that the charts are trying to give us or making available to us, and trying to make the best possible decision with it. So what are some things that can represent bullish and bearish Confluence? What are the data points that we can be looking at? There's a ton of stuff, right? Everybody looks at the chart a little bit differently. You may like indicators like moving averages or exponential moving averages. You may like MACD or RSI or CCP or CCI. You may like TTM squeeze. There's a bajillion indicators out there, and whatever one it is that you like, or ones that you like, the goal here is obviously to start building a model for what supports a move up or a move down. So for example, as I take a look, we're on SPY here today, right? But we've got this major trend line, which, you can see historically has represented a fairly strong rejection every time we touched it until recently, right? So this was an element that a lot of people were looking at as a bearish Confluence. They would add that in with other things, right? Where are my moving averages? What's going on with MACD? What is the volume doing? How does RSI look? What's TTM squeeze doing, right? Those are some of the common indicators that I pull up and I keep a track of. Doesn't really matter, right? If you're into Bollinger Bands or Keltner channels or whatever, it doesn't really matter, right? We're just looking for things, multiple things, and we're lining those up in the supports thesis and goes against thesis, right? Essentially a pros and cons list for each one of those things. So, and we can also pull in stuff. News is valid. What's going on in the sector, right? If we're looking at something, let's say we're talking about semiconductors, right? Like, well, what's going on with SMH? What's going on with the overall industry? So those are all things that we can bring to bear as we go in to set up our trade. So we're going to go into on demand here. If you're not familiar with it, is essentially it's kind of like a DVR for the market. Lets you go back and you can trade any ticker, any day in history, like it's going on in real time. So it's a great training environment. We are going to go, I'm just going to randomly pick, I don't want to do December, but how about we'll do a Tuesday in January. And I'm going to set this up for market open. We're going to kind of go take a look at what's going on around us before the market day opens up. I don't remember what day I was saying there. Let's do the 24th. All right. So here we go. We're, as far as we know, it is January 24th. So let's start talking through, what we see on the chart and start talking about confluence points here to decide whether we are seeing a better potential for a move up or a move down. So as I kind of look here, well, now this big downtrend line here is a little bit more relevant, right? Like we got a couple of peaks over here, but we don't know if we're in a head fake. We don't know if we've broken through and we're going to retest. So I would say that this doesn't provide a real strong confluence at this point because we're kind of straddling that line. So I'm not necessarily interested, but we are over this simple moving average here, 20 SMA. So that is a mark in the bullish side. I'm not really going to use this trend line here. Well, let's take a look down at some of the other indicators. So RSI is kind of in the middle here. We're above the midline. So potentially that could be another bullish, another point for the bullish side. Volume is a little bit above average. We had some good buying pressure here. So that could be another bullish confluence point here. MACD is above the zero line. And we may potentially be starting to spread here between those two signal lines. So that could be another bullish confluence. And if you're into TTM squeeze, we're also above, and the histogram is expanding as well. So we have a number of things there just looking at the daily that might give me a bullish bias heading in. Now let's go take a look at some other time frames. For those of you who have, oh God, sorry, I know this is a little chaotic looking, but for those of you who have seen some of the other videos on multiple time frame analysis, I have kind of rearranged my chart here a little bit to put the higher time frames in the upper left and the lower time frames in the lower right. I had it the other way around before, but I actually prefer because the human eyeball, at least in America, tends to scan from upper left to lower right. I am going higher time frame to lower time frame. So we got the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 15 minute, and the 5 minute. So as we kind of take a look over what's going on here, we're in a lot of traffic. We got a bunch of zones here, and we're kind of sitting at, if we kind of zoom in a little bit, we're sitting right below a big level. We can see that there was some rejection here. And we did poke through this supply zone here, but then we kind of sold back off. So depending on if we recapture this line, that could be another bullish confluence point. If we fail further away, that would definitely be a bearish, obviously, confluence point. And we've also got this large swing line here. I believe that this one is from COVID swing low. That might be a more recent line that I put in for potential megaphone here as well. I'd have to go back and kind of take a look here. This is here's a slightly busier chart. All right, so the major COVID low swing is a little bit higher here. You can see that we did actually come up and bounce off of this channel, and that both resulted in a rejection here. So from a confluence standpoint, I was looking actually at both of these lines and say, hey, we've got two trend lines coming together at an important level, and look at that. We had we went up and rejected and bounced back off, right? So we're looking to figure out what's going to happen next. So coming back over here on the higher time frame, we are still inside of this upwards channel. We're kind of coming back down towards the middle. So I don't have a lot to add into the confluence model from that point. Coming over here, same level still present. Coming down here to the 15 minute. We are kind of at the pre-market low. We've got some of these levels here are just kind of showing me the opens and closes and pre-market highs and lows from the previous day. So as we kind of get into that, we're into traffic and a little bit of consolidation here. And the 5 minute, we've got a little bit of a dip in the pre-market right before we come into open. So right now I'm going to and I'm going to skip ahead. Oh, I guess we've already been kind of playing here. I'm going to hit pause here because we're not going to just play through the day. We're going to do some fast forwarding through and just kind of talk about it. So right now I have more elements in my bullish column than in my bearish column. So I am, I'm looking to see if I get an actual move that supports it. Now, if I do get that move up, I'm probably looking for some of these levels that I've got marked off here. We've got these two trend lines. So the upper part of the channel, this COVID swing high, and this level here right around 402. So I might be looking for a move up towards 402 if we see some positive movement here. Now, as we come in, we've already had a couple of minutes, right? We got about 3 minutes into market open. We can see that it did start down. But we're hitting some wicks down here on the bottom. So that may indicate that we're hitting supply. So I might at this point you can see that the price is catching up here from on demand. So we're going to go ahead and let that finish settling up. But you can see that it does look like we are hitting a supply or a demand zone here, and we may be preparing for a move up. So I'll be looking for a move over this moving average here, and then potentially this level that we have marked off as well in order to support the bullish thesis that I'm my fairly weak bullish thesis. So let's go ahead and jump ahead a little bit. We're going to add 10 minutes to the chart and just find out where things are at after 10 minutes. And sorry, the on-demand has been a little sluggish this weekend, so I'll do my best to fill up blank space, talk a little bit through it while we're waiting to see what happens here. And jumping in, so we can see that we are starting, we have kind of gotten around to the point where we have, we did go down, and we're still pushing down. We've actually broken down. So the opening range is here. So we've got our 3 candles here. The opening range came down. We're still wicking at the bottom. We've got an outside bar coming up. So I'm still open to the possibility of a move up here. But if we see a rejection up off of these levels here, then we may need to invalidate our bullish thesis and start looking for opportunities to the downside. Again, with these levels marked here, I might be looking for a move down to 395. We'll take a look and find out what happens. All right, we're gonna add 10 more minutes to our chart and see what happens next. All right, so it looks like we did get a push off of the bottom here. So we got above the moving average and over that level. So with a pretty nice couple of nice body move candles here. So and it does look like we've at least gotten over the pre-market range that we had set right before market open. So the bullish thesis is starting to gain some steam here. So I might be looking for a pullback here to retest this level and validate that it is in fact now support or demand. And then we might start looking for calls. So let's add another 10 minutes, find out what happens next. And thank God for the animated GIFs here. Otherwise, this would be a real boring screen. All right. So I think we have maybe a little bit more of an indication here. Yeah, it's still printing. So we'll let that finish up. We'll see where we get to, and then we're going to probably just go ahead and jump straight forward to midday here just to find out how the morning session finished out, and then we can talk a little bit about what thoughts might be for the afternoon session. But this is hopefully the way that I'm talking through this is helpful in terms of the Confluence model, right? We are just gathering points to support whether things are heading the way that we are that we believe or not, right? And if we start to see that that the number of items that go against our thesis is growing longer, then we need to rethink our position or what our assumptions are for the market. So we can see here that this was had a real nice move up, and so I would still be looking for a bit of a retest here before jumping in long. But let's go ahead and move this forward to lunch. Now I'm at Central Time. You may have already picked up on that. Market starts at 8:30 a.m. here, and we are going to go ahead and jump over to. I mean, we're going to do my lunchtime. That'd be 1 o'clock New York time. But let's just find out whether our thesis held true. So it does look like, and there's kind of exactly what I wanted to see. I came back down a little bit further, right? So, and I don't know if we got some news here. This is a lot of movement. So we had the opening range, we caught some support, we got back up. Now we rejected once we got up above. I would have been looking for a test of this line here, but we went back down. But again, we found support down here around 398. And there was some demand. You can see from all the long wicks here that did kind of push us back up. And we did in fact start getting our move back up towards 400. Now we didn't get all the way up to 402, but we could potentially, if this all settles in here, we definitely could still see that move upwards towards the end of day. So let's go ahead and just jump towards the end of the day and take a look and see how things finished out with our experiment here. I think that'll be 3 o'clock. So we'll just go ahead and say 3 I'm sorry, actually, we want to do 4 o'clock and take a look at where things closed out. All right, so let's find out how the rest of our day concluded with our bullish thesis of Confluence points. All right. You guys can get it done. I believe in you, Thinkorswim and OnDemand. Yeah, I'm not real sure. I actually restarted the client here before the video, hoping that this would be a little quicker. I don't believe that this is my machine dying. It doesn't look like it. So just a little bit of sluggish performance coming from Thinkorswim here, as far as I can tell. All right, so we're still waiting for our 5-minute chart here to finish out, so we don't actually know what we got for the remainder of our market day here. So we'll let that go. So I think we're probably pretty close to wrapping up anyway. So we'll wait for this to finish drawing. We'll find out whether we did in fact break over our pre-market range here and make our way up towards 402. We'll find out in just hopefully a minute, and we might have to jump into the 4 hour. Okay, so 4 hours already telling us what happened here. So we did get up, but we did not make a further move up. We actually ended up just kind of stabilizing here towards the end of the day. And we did make a little bit more of a push. Okay, so that was a little bit of delayed data there. So we didn't get all the way up, but we did still continue, and our bullish thesis held intact. And we didn't get all the way up to 402, but we still had a pretty nice move, especially if we did eye this early on. Now this might have stopped out, right? If we had just jumped in here long, I don't know that I would have continued holding here, but this might have been a great spot to enter, right? As we came back, a huge rejection. These wicks are still telling the story that there are buyers down here. And then in theory, if we'd have picked up some calls down here, we could have gotten a ride from 398 up to 401. So 3-point move on SPY is definitely good money. I mean, if we were to go take a look at, let's see, if down here, I might have been looking at 400. So if we had gone in and taken some 0 days, I wouldn't necessarily recommend. Let's actually make a more responsible decision. Let's say if we were playing the weeklies, if we went in at 400, we could have seen a, let's take a look here. On the quick chart, 400s went from about $2.42, and we maxed out around 325. So that's pretty good. That is like 60%. So 60% trade by using the Confluence model. And again, I have no idea what was going to happen today. We just kind of talked through it. I don't have a very good memory, and I sure as shit don't remember what happened on January 24th of even this year. But that's it, guys. So thanks for swinging by. I hope this was helpful for some of you. And again, if you get a chance to like the video, that'd be great. And I will see you guys on the next one. Hope you all enjoyed the Super Bowl if you're watching that sort of thing. And we'll see you guys later on. Cheers.